So arrays are really just a group of variables where the information is stored under one name, and each of the elements in the array can be accessed by its index or its subscript. So to declare an array in Visual Basic, here's an example. dim int hours is going to be the name of the array, and in parentheses you put what the upper subscript will be. This is a little different if you've used arrays in C++. This is the upper subscript, so there would actually be 7 elements in this array. The indices would range from 0 to 6. So that's one way to declare an array, which would hold 6 integers. And then you can, store values in there if you want, as an example, okay, using its index, or int hours sub1, is assigned the value of 7. So there's an example using that array. You can also use what's called implicit array sizing. And that is where you tell what values are going to be stored in the array, but you don't specify the upper subscript, and the compiler can figure it out. So here's an example of doing that. So you'll notice I don't have a size here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put initial values in here. And based on that, the compiler can tell that the upper subscript would be 2, 0, 1, 2. So now it knows the size of this array, and it assigns initial values in there. Arrays are actually given default values. Your numeric data types, if you don't put values into the array, will all be zeros. Your strings you have to be a little bit more careful with. If you want them initialized to the empty string, you may want to use a loop to do that, or you could use this type of syntax, put empty strings in there as well. So the next video will talk a little bit about using loops with arrays, or accessing array elements using loops. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how to declare them here. Obviously you can use any data type that you want. The one thing you do have to be careful of is accessing an array index which is out of bounds. Since these only range from 0 to 6, 8 should not be a valid array index. And if I try and run this program, you'll notice that I get an unhandled exception, index out of range. So if you get this message, that just means you're trying to access an index in the array that does not exist. So you do still have to be careful with that. If this is a 6 here, the only valid indices will be 0 through 6.